progress in terms of the registries as you see them, and what would you like to see happen?
Well, as I said in my talk, I think I would love to see in our next rendition of the survey we'll send out that people actually volunteer to collaborate on specific diseases. I think we'll take advantage of Sonal, who's going to be here for another 5 months, to send out the survey to the same group and also perhaps additional people from today. And then I'd like to see that we do validation studies. I think there's a huge opportunity. Now, I don't really know about uveal melanoma and retinoblastoma, how much was changed from 7th edition to 8th edition, because I was not directly involved in those 2 chapters, in fact. But for the rest of them, really there's a huge opportunity because there were big changes in those in the criteria, and I think that's a nice opportunity. I'd like to see us go in that direction, to generate manuscripts, generate collaborative studies, and finish them by the next ISOO. I think that's a doable goal. That would be where I would like to see in that area.
I'd like to put a plug in for vitreoretinal lymphoma. It's a rare tumor, so not many cases per center, so we need a lot of centers to contribute. But the natural history of that disease is very poorly understood, and there are no large clinical series or natural history reviews that are available. And until we have that, we can't plan a treatment.
I think we're at a very exciting time in medicine, and particularly in eye cancer. For example, the retinoblastoma database, as far as we can tell, is the first to do this kind of thing for a global population. It's a rare disease, so it's good for that. People who look at it say, that would be perfect for the other rare diseases too. So that leadership is really, really exciting coming from here. But the whole IT world is moving in leaps and bounds, and we've just met another company that's got a piece of what we needed next for the logins and the security and the access. We don't have to build it because they've got an amazing model. So I think it's a very, very exciting time for registries, for data to speak and feed right back to patient care and change the way we do all of medicine.
And specifically for your couple of projects, what do you want to see from our membership?
I want you all to log in and sign up and complete the survey that you've got on the card, on the depict. But I'm very excited about the possibility, and many people talked to me after we talked earlier about workshops and the workshop model, which was really, really fun and powerful in China. And that concept can fit in nicely with all the rest of things we're doing. So I'd like to see those 2 directions.
About the retinoblastoma fellowship curriculum, I think a lot has changed from today. In the past, it's been a collection of everybody's opinion and consolidating them into one document of a curriculum. From today forward, it would be really selecting each of those criteria and making them, ranking the criteria to see what really belongs on the curriculum going forward. I think we've also discussed the various controversies with how a fellowship should be provided. Let's say challenges, not controversies actually. Challenges from around the world about how a fellowship could be provided. And I think today has been a great day in listing out all of that. And coming together to to improve retinoblastoma care in a big way around the world if we succeed in this endeavor. Thank you.
The response that we got to the audience today was very encouraging. So we will start with the contact emails that we had. And of course, this afternoon also has identified 2 additional contact surfaces. The first one would be to check with Vita's project, because they are not the same, but there is some overlap, because the registry for validating cancer staging systems usually doesn't have so much about treatment and other outcomes than survival. But if there is data entry for a sufficient number of patients that also interest in the patient report, doctor-reported outcomes, perhaps it might be useful to do it simultaneously and then do an add-on to be able to report other outcomes than survival. And of course, there was overwhelming support to at least negotiate with ISO whether they would be willing to participate in this, at least in allowing to use the ISO membership list to invite more people to participate in the project.
I myself, I'm very grateful for this morning, sitting together and trying to, with 2 or 3 people, to bring something together which could be a classification system for the future is not an easy job. And it's very important that there is some kind of critical overview and review. And this was, I really appreciate it today. It was great and very, very helpful. Concerning radiation oncology, I'm the only radiation oncologist sitting on the table. And I would like to ask our future president if we should not make the interdisciplinary collaboration, which is really the key point in oncology, more visible also at ISO by having a radiation therapy board member or committee on a high level. What I observe in Germany is something I don't like at all. We have more and more in radiation oncology very targeted and very precise delivery systems for application of dose. And these machines are very expensive. They are used in a way which is sometimes not very intelligent, because you have to use them, and eye is always something nice to irradiate. So what I observe is that people who never have treated eye tumors and have no clue how to do, start to treat them because they think they have the correct machines. And that's something we should try to stop and to discuss on a European, on a world, international level, what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. And let's start with my own proton facility in Essen, where we could irradiate eye tumors, because we have a beam line for eye tumors. But the beam quality, even if there are protons, is so bad that we cannot use it. So I'm in the lucky situation to say, no, stop, we don't use it. But this is not the case for everybody. And we should really try also to protect our patients against such kind of developments.
I notice, being here like you all day, that there's a recurrent theme. And one is that many people have brought up the possibility or the need for incorporating much of what we're doing formally within the ISO, having possibly a radiation committee, having fellowship standards and things like that. And so I feel very fortunate that Martine is the next president, because I've known her for 20 years, and I think she's really the person for the job.
Very kind of you, but society needs the members to uphold it, and there are very many great suggestions. And this morning there was this beautiful discussion about a surgical book with all the different procedures. For radiation procedures, one might also consider doing something similar, making an overview of different techniques that can or should be used to treat different tumors. And you already mentioned either European or international. When you ask me what I think would be for the future, to make the society really more global. To my surprise, a symposium at the Asia Pacific Academy of ophthalmology became a real eye-opener for me. And Professor Kivella, sitting here on my right, was the organizer of the symposium. And the title of the symposium was Uveal Melanoma in Asia. And what came out, he had invited people from different countries in Asia, and there are not many publications, but what came out of it is that the patients in Asia present really with different uveal melanoma than in Europe, and at another age. So, and that was just one disease being discussed in one part of the world. And I wonder whether that is the same with other diseases, whether patterns of diseases differ between Europe, South America, Asia. We all know that some diseases occur much more in certain parts of the world, but we don't know why. So from figuring out what happens in different parts of the world, and really not only having North America and Europe participate in registries, but having people from Asia register their patients as well, and from South America and from Africa, and really having a global overview. Then we can go into genetics. And the whole program really is about identifying diseases and treating patients with cancer. If we can figure out more why one person develops one type of cancer and another person another type of cancer, then, and we understand really why a cancer develops, we may be able to identify people earlier and find better treatments. Because it is fantastic that somebody can remove an eye with a huge tumor and save the life of the patient, but wouldn't it be terrific if we could treat all tumors of the eye and just make them disappear without having to remove eyes? So, but for that we need more understanding to get to better treatments. And to get a better understanding, we first need to know more what is going on in which person. One thing I didn't ask that was, do you register the eye color of your patients? Do you register the eye color of your patients?
No.
Yes. Some people do. There is a weird phenomenon that for uveal melanoma you find more in Northern Europe than in Southern Europe. And you would think, well, in the south there's more sunshine than in the north. But it has to do with the eye color. And in Finland there are a lot of people with blue eyes. In Spain and Greece there are not many people with dark eyes, with blue eyes. They have brown eyes. In Asia there are very few people with blue eyes. So the eye color seems to be a major determinant in whether you develop uveal melanoma, yes or no.
And red hair.
Yes, bad luck. So those things are very important factors. And I think as a society we should really also ask questions about why do diseases develop, and try to focus on that for the future, and not only about the current treatments, but how can we do things better for the future in a global perspective.
So where do you see these projects are ongoing? I think over the last 2 years, the champions have taken their time to put together and progress from our meeting in Paris. But I think that my impression, and contradict me if you feel otherwise, that these projects need to be internalized into the ISOO on a more formal basis. Does anybody have any feelings about that?
I think it's absolutely superb that you organize a session like this, that you did it in Paris and that you did it here, and that you get outstanding people to lead the different sections. And I hope that it's not really a difference between people here and members of ISOO, whether it's integration or not. It's the same people. Mm-hmm. So it's just different head. I think these projects are part of the international community of ocular oncology. And I'm very glad that this day is part of this whole week.
So we used to have a pre-ISO meeting research day organized by Bill Harbour several years ago.
No, organized by me.
Okay. But we
Yes,
used,
but it wasn't pre...
okay, we used to have that
Yes.
as a pre-ISO meeting research day.
Yes.
Now, for the past 2 meetings, Paul has been organizing this meeting, and the research has been integrated into the ISO general meeting. I understand that we cannot vote in the business meeting to integrate what Paul is doing into the meeting because it hasn't been proposed 2 weeks in advance before the ISO business meeting, so everyone can read it, but maybe there can be some exceptions with you being the incoming president.
I would not like to make it that formal.
That's it. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you all for coming. And look forward to seeing you at our next meeting.
And thank you for all your work, Paul.